How appropriate is that song, considering that Frank Lampard is now back as caretaker manager of Chelsea? Welcome back to the West Ham Network. I'm Anton, and I'm bringing to you another little bit of a West Ham daily stroke rant, stroke giving you some information of what's coming out of the club. And it's one last dance for David Moyes. West Ham are prepared to take their time in weighing up the David Moyes future as the David Sullivan ponders over the sacking of under fire boss David Moyes. He's facing a fight for his job after a heavy 5-1 deflating, horrible defeat to Newcastle on Sunday, and it left for many a fan calling for him to go as the club faced the battle to stay in the Premier League this season. Now, the club were probably forced to clarify that Moyes would be taking training as per usual on Monday, which he did amid reports that West Ham are considering bringing the curtain down on his 3.5-year reign after a dismal display, and also again taking training today after the Newcastle game. But according to several reports, Sullivan is unwilling to make a decision on Moyes' future before the weekend, with West Ham facing a difficult London derby clash against Fulham at Craven Cottage on Saturday. Now, West Ham, who are currently 15th and only outside the drop zone by the way of goal difference, having won just 27 points from 28 games this season, although we do have a game on hand in many teams below us as well. But boos and jeers rang out from the stands all over the London Stadium as West Ham suffered our heaviest defeat since the 5-0 thrashings off the hands of Manchester United back in August 2019. And before that, we had gone 5 games unbeaten at the London Stadium, but Moyes has accepted that there will be some supporters urging him to leave after the latest result. I've already gone through the situation with what David Moyes said after the game yesterday, but Moyes, who's been in charge since December 2019, is in one of the longest serving managers in the Premier League and guided West Ham to the Europa League semi-final last season before losing to the eventual winners, Eintracht Frankfurt. And people always say we live in the past. Look at what David Moyes did over the last 2 years. The Scot has another chance to bring some European success to the club, albeit in a different manner, as we are well within the chance of winning the Conference League, having reached the quarterfinals and won all 8 matches in the competition so far. A positive for David Moyes, who has retained the full backing of club captain Declan Rice, who dismissed any notion of a dressing room revolt against the manager. He says, I love working with the manager. So do the players. How he is as a person, a man, he's great for us. Fans are voicing their opinion, but that's football. It's tough. We have to block out the noise and keep the positivity. It hasn't felt like that in the dressing room, sensing the negativity. There's no way that's happening with this bunch of lads. And do you know what? I've got to say to you, right, fair play for Deckers for saying what he said. I also don't doubt for a second that no player will come out and speak out against their manager. But right now, I've taken time to compute the situation. It's not great. It's not nice. And if this is true, it's the one last dance for David Moyes. He needs to get a result. Maybe the comments might give West Ham the bounce that we need, because we desperately need that bounce, because we're only really a couple of victories or 3 victories away from trying to be close to being safe, opening up that gap from that bottom situation that we are. But we find ourselves now with that 5 goals conceded has wiped out really the goal difference, and we're sitting joint bottom due to goal difference in joint bottom 3, third from bottom, joint with 4 other clubs. And we need to get ourselves quickly out of this situation. David Moyes, an interesting and not such a nice particular stat, is only won 15 Premier League games in his last 55. That is a ridiculous stat and something that absolutely will need to change. Something else that he also has right now is the fact that he's only beaten in the Premier League since December the 5th of 2021, Watford twice, who have been relegated, Norwich twice, who have been relegated, Everton under Frank Lampard twice, Palace, Villa under Gerrard twice, Forest, Southampton, Wolves twice, Bournemouth and Fulham. So it shows you in that whole campaign, those games he's won have only come against those teams that I've previously mentioned. But essentially, as much as I am the way I've become pissed off, angry, annoyed, frustrated at the situation. I do understand that right now, when the going gets tough, you need your fan base behind you. I don't doubt this for a second. I don't doubt it that we're there for a second. You heard the crowd, you heard it, and it's very hard to support what we saw on the park, the substitutions that were made, the individual errors that the players were making, the lack of fight, the lack of determination. But what we do need to do is not incite the hate. It is frustrating, it's crap, but we need to support the system. We need to support this team to make sure we can get through this together. There's something that we haven't had this season, and is a unified approach. Declan Rice is saying that the changing room is unified. No matter what we say and what we think, they're coming out and they're saying this changing room is unified. So we need to back that up as a fan base, and I don't doubt we will. I think we will. But what we want to see is that fight on the park. We can't have anything remotely close to Newcastle. We can't have anything remotely close to Brighton. We need to, I say it week in and week out, but we need to take the game to Fulham. The game plan currently about being defensive doesn't work, because when we do that, we can sporadically lose a game by 4 goals like we did against Brighton, or 5-1 against Newcastle, but we haven't taken the game to them. But when we take a game to a team like we did at Liverpool at Anfield, we only concede, or if we've been beaten by 1 goal, and we've been very unfortunate in the game. So that's the fighting battle I want. I want West Ham to go at these teams. I want David Moyes to look at that and use your noggin, mate, and go at Fulham, because they're there to be got, as Newcastle were there to be got. And that's what we need to do. Show that fight, show that determination, show that we're there for the battle, we're there to stay in this Premier League, and we see the vision past this season. Because right now, even if we pick up a victory, it's only 1 game at a time. There's no vision anymore. We seem to have lost our way in that, but we need to be unified. We need to be united, because that's what's got us through over the last couple of seasons. Europa League took a mindset off the Premier League, and the Premier League form has dipped. No one has questioned that. No one has ever really questioned that. It's just whether or not you're willing to give Moyes the time to make the transition. Right now, it's not happening, but we need to back this system. Nobody should be willing West Ham to get beat on Saturday against Fulham, because that's a ridiculous statement to make. I don't want West Ham to get beat against Fulham, and if West Ham win against Fulham, Moyes stays in his job, then good, because that means West Ham have won. Obviously, you want to have a convincing victory. Obviously, it needs to be, you want it to look pretty, you want it to look nice, but if we don't and we just get the victory and we stay safe, then so bloody be it. Like, just get behind this team as much as we possibly can. That's what we need to happen. But the board supposedly have said it's one last dance for David Moyes. This is his chance. He needs this game as a must win. He has had it before. Nottingham Forest 4-0, Everton 2-0. It's must win. Bless me. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens come the game. Join us all throughout the day as you've got all the information coming out to you. You also have the press conference and the game show that we did for the 24-hour stream. Take it easy, everyone, and come on.